pre-Prevail prep for quarter 4. We want to give you guys more ammunition to get past some of these plateaus that we're having with our mobility and our function, right? And one of them inside of, I'm sure you guys saw a lot in the pistol, this ankle, knee, hip mobility piece is, how can I get something done before session that doesn't take a long time, that doesn't take a lot of space, but actually helps me get closer and closer to that goal, especially when it comes to that ankle mobility that we all need to practice, all right? So I want you to think 2 things. I want you to think breathe and bend, okay? So what's that show with the
Bend and snap.
Bend and snap, right. No snapping.
Legally Blonde, okay? Come on.
So breathe and bend. Before I get into my bendy stuff, I want to get a little bit of heat going. And so when you get into the breathe side, do something that makes you out of breath. So if it's inside the studio, that can mean grabbing a bike, cranking out 2 or 3 minutes at a good intensity till you're like you feel breath, you feel heart rate, you feel something going on in your body. Don't just sit there and laxly kind of go through it. Okay? You can do the skier, you can do the prowler, you can do bounding, jumping in place. Just get out of breath. And as soon as you get out of breath in that 160, 90 to 2 minute bout, that's when we're going to get into bend. And now the bend I want you guys to focus on is you're going to go to the rack and we're going to learn how to get this ankle, knee, hip better prepared for pistols. When I first learned to do a pistol back in 2011, whatever that was, right? I couldn't do one. And the thing that got me there was tons and tons and tons of Cossack squats against a wall, but this is a slightly better variation. And what you're going to do is you're going to really take some time to learn what it feels like to get this knee over the toe with your hip down below your knee. You're going to use as much band or ring as assistance as you need. Now you can be in a really big Cossack squat, and you can also be in even just a half kneeling position. It's kind of the same, but really what you want to do is you want to get the majority of your weight pushing this kneecap over your pinky toe, okay? And then what you want to do is you really want to sit your weight into that heel so you feel pressure here and you feel your hamstring pressing against your calf, and your upper body can do pretty much whatever it wants to. Now from here, what I want to do is I'm going to hang out and I'm going to wedge that knee outside that pinky toe, and I can let my weight push into it. I feel stuff on the back side, and I feel maybe some compression in the inside a little bit here. And I want to hang out and I want to breathe for 20, 30 seconds, right? And then I'm going to relax, and then I'm going to go back into it again and hold for 20 and 30 seconds. This is the basics of getting this knee hip to kind of do some stuff. And I want to hang out, feel some stuff, come back out of it, come back in again, and really sit that knee over it and start to teach this tissue how it can get nice and lengthened, okay? I want to do as many sets as I can left and right. I want to do 3 or 4 or 5 sets every single time I come in. Now, if you want to translate that into the pistol, I can take the same practice in my Cossack, right? And I can really get going over here, and then I can just spend some time. Someone hooked this up wrong. Okay. Imagination station. I can spend some time in this position, and now I can use as much assistance as I need with my chest over my knee over toe, because this is the bottom of the pistol, and I can press myself out, okay? And then I can do it again. I can lean over, and I can really get my weight wedged, my hip down, my knee over, and then I can learn how to press myself by pulling my kneecap back and driving my hip forward. Go out, and then when I'm down at the bottom, this feels uncomfortable, I'm gonna hang out even longer, and I'm gonna pull my knee back and press my hip forward so I learn how to press out of the bottom of that pistol, all right? Now we'll do 2 to 3 sets on one side, 2 to 3 sets on the other side, and I can do that back and forth until session gets going. You can use the rack as well, so you can really use the rack to be here and hug and press over, and feel that position. And I can also use the rack here to hug. The most important part is that this isn't helping me. Me just hanging out with a vertical shin is gonna teach my ankle how to do that work. You're also gonna focus that when you bring your knee in, if your ankle falls and rotates and you feel compression on this outside, that you're gonna have to take some work to pull that foot flat by creating an arch here in your foot. So if your arch falls flat and I'm here, I'm gonna run out of mechanics inside of that ankle. What I wanna do is I'm gonna take this arch and I'm gonna pull it up by creating an arch here and then pressing so that I can find space inside of this ankle complex without that ankle, my foot falling flat to the ground. I'm gonna pull that arch and think about there being gap here and then the other side of my foot, right? Instead of it being falling and there's a gap here, I want that foot to press and everything on the outside of my foot to press into the ground as I'm practicing this mobility, okay? So, breathe, simple math, breathe for 3 minutes, come over here, do 3 sets per side. That should take you about 5 minutes before session. That's your pre-Prevail prep for the rest of the quarter. And I wanna see those pistols by January. Baby.